All right, great. Yeah, thanks so much for having me here. I'm going to talk today about my thesis project at Louisiana State University. A little bit about me. I'm from Wisconsin originally and have lived in Louisiana for about 10 years. Worked for a long time in GIS and geospatial software development, and more recently started school at LSU and pursuing these two geography and MLIS degrees. When I was thinking of what I wanted to include in my thesis, these were some elements of past work I've done that I really wanted to emphasize. And especially love georeferencing old maps, and I've always loved the Sanborn collection. So what I ended up with was building from this geospatial content management system called GeoNode, and building a couple of extensions on top of it, and then pulling in content from the Library of Congress digital collection. And so I'm going to show a little bit of the site today and give a really brief kind of run through, I suppose. You can go to it now, it's available. You can sign up tomorrow. It's not quite available to sign up, but here's the main website, the homepage, and wanted to first go quick to the little bit more about the background. This really became a project where I wanted to create a place where people could georeference Sanborn maps of their own hometown around Louisiana. So I tried to include as many volumes as possible. And the timeline is February through March this year. So starting right now, and then at the end of the semester, I'll be transferring all the geotiffs to a longer term storage in the geography department. So let's see, just to give a little overview of the content in this content management system. The first here, volumes, I'll talk more about that in a second, but these three others are default GeoNode content types. So documents, layers, and web maps. The georeferencing aspect that I added is essentially allows you to turn documents into layers. Looking at the volumes, I chose this as the best way to structure and reflect the Sanborn collection in the Library of Congress. So these are essentially items in the Library of Congress, and you could think of it as a year and a city. So if we search through the available volumes, for example, you can see that 5 are available to, you could load these in and start georeferencing them for Baton Rouge, these 5 different years. I want to open up a couple that I had already started. Just for example, here's kind of the volume summary page, so to speak. When you load one or when you start one, what it's doing is just kind of copying the JPEG to the server and then registering it within GeoNode as a full resource. In this page, there's the georeferencing process. I've set it up as basically a 2 and then optional 3rd step process. So this page tracks what part of the process each sheet is in. So here's a couple other ones, and you can see different stages, that kind of thing. Going to demonstrate this preparation process. This was especially important work to deal with because Sanborn maps often contain different parts of different parts of town in the same sheet. So the first thing you need to do is either say this sheet doesn't need to be split, or basically design this like a split divisions, and then you can split it. So we'll just run that right now. So you can make a more complex shape. This is obviously a pretty simple one. But what this does is it takes that original document and creates 2 new smaller ones from it. So there's a little progress here. We refresh it, we should see the children pages have been created. So now these are prepared and ready to be georeferenced. So I'll just go to one of them and get into the georeferencing interface just to show you. So this looks like most georeferencing interfaces, I suppose. You create control points. Not doing a very good job right now, but a live preview will pop up, and then you can kind of adjust as needed. And then whenever you save, there's a list here of control points. So when you save these, then the process runs in the background, turning this document into a layer. So I won't run that right now, but what you get in the end is this set of layers, and this builds, of course, over time. And this is kind of back to the default GeoNode functionality, where you can just select a few of them, for example. And so we did search through and find all of the ones from 1900 in Alexandria, and then create a map. So this is, I mentioned earlier, web maps are kind of like a data type. So this is akin to ArcGIS Online, I suppose, in that you're creating and saving maps that are like a configuration of a few different layers. And then this is how you can start to build like a seamless, a mosaic. And that's, I think, about all I have time for. One final step is if you have overlapping sheets that are adjacent, there's a final tool interface that I built where you can trim, like make a mask to trim the edges so that one will not, obscure the other. And that's kind of a basic masking process. So plenty more to say about it, but that's all for now. Thank you very much.